Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, then welcome. Tanchikia wa Mizani. I am Abigail, or Abby, Abigail Dishnekashun. I am Métis and autistic and love talking about autism stuff. So this is where I do that. And I am currently going through the 30 Days of Autism Acceptance prompts made by my friend Audie J on Tumblr. I'm still playing a bit of catch up. I'd originally wanted to do 2 or 3 prompts in this one, but I've still been a bit unwell, and the prompt for April 14th is a bit of a tough one that will not go well with April 15th. But going into the long weekend, so I've got time to catch up over the next 4 days. So just doing April 14th. So, April 14th was, what are some of the most difficult aspects of being autistic to you? What makes it difficult? Talk about it. This is really hard because some of the things that are most difficult for me are also things that are great at times, like my sensitivity to noise and sounds. In some environments, it can be so overwhelming and overstimulating and just trigger meltdowns, but like with music, my sensitive ears are great with music. When I was 12, I managed to pick out the melody for the Rohan theme from Lord of the Rings entirely by ear on the piano. It was a super simplified basic version because I was 12 and couldn't really get into piano lessons back then. The patience to actually practice and learn over time didn't come to me until I was an adult. But when I got the actual piano book a few years ago, I was over the moon to discover that 12-year-old me had in fact gotten all of the notes right. The book just brought in the full chords. My piano teacher has told me multiple times that I have a very good ear. Also, I can pick up on variations in orchestrations. At one point, I could pinpoint which cast recording of Les Mis a version of One Day More was from before Valjean even started singing, just based entirely on the orchestrations. And Return of the Allergies. I probably can still do that to a degree, but of course the flip side is I'm anxious about eating around other people because the second a piece of cutlery scrapes against a plate, I want to jump off a cliff. It's like everything is in extremes. The sounds, the lights, the smells, physical sensations, emotions, there's just no middle ground. Everything is either amazing or it's horrible, and that gets very exhausting, especially when I can't find the language to explain it. When something bad happens, it can take so long for me to really process and understand it and recover. There have been a lot of times where it's taken years for me to realize that I was actually treated horribly and I wasn't just overreacting in certain situations. And of course, there's also executive dysfunction. That I could totally do without altogether. It doesn't have an opposite that comes with it like the other things do. There is zero positive aspect to my being fully unable to start a thing because I'm overwhelmed by not knowing where to start because it seems to have so many steps, or there's multiple things that I need to do but I can't figure out which to do first, and then I just get stuck. Eternally grateful to my partner because we've started figuring out a system to help me manage that. If I can break down what the executive dysfunction is, like if, for example, I know that I need to eat, but I also need to shower, but I can't do anything because I don't know which to do first, he'll just pick for me and tell me to do one or the other, and suddenly I can do it and both get done. The absolute most difficult thing for me, though, is definitely the fact that I wasn't diagnosed until I was 23. Like, I just turned 30 and I am still figuring out things about how my brain works. I feel like I am so far behind in life because it honestly feels a lot of the time, like, my life didn't even really start until I actually got that diagnosis. That was the first time anything actually really made any sense. And I pushed myself way too hard for way too long. I was always the odd one out, the one who seemed to be overreacting, and because there was no explanation as to why, I just started feeling like I was the problem, I was a burden, so I had to be totally perfect in order to not be that. And that is just so hard to shake off. I keep thinking that I've finally made reasonable adjustments for myself. Whew, sorry. Allergies. Where was I at my script? I keep thinking I've finally made reasonable adjustments for myself, but it keeps turning out that no, I'm still pushing myself too hard and holding myself to too high of a standard. There are times that I stop and think about it and realize that a lot of neurotypicals would probably fail the unreasonable standards that I have set for myself. It's totally ridiculous. So yeah, some of the really challenging things do have a couple positives attached as well, and others are just straight up challenging, and a lot of my personal struggles largely come from being undiagnosed for so long. And I definitely had a lot to talk about, so it's a good thing I decided to just talk about the one thing for now. So that was April 14th. Today is actually the 17th. Next video should be tomorrow, so I'm still running about 3 days behind. We will see how much I can get caught up tomorrow. And hopefully I will not have a sudden little allergy attack in the middle of tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching. Merci pour ton temps. And I will see you in that next video. Bye.